Hello, my name is Dmitry Chedaev. I'm a program manager in Microsoft Dynamics NAV team. In this video, I'm going to explain how you can prepare and run Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015. At the end of this video, I'm sure you will know how to use upgrade code units to perform the actions which you would normally perform within this Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 stage of the data upgrade process. In this video, we'll go through 3 simple steps. First, I will explain the purpose and the meaning of the Upgrade Toolkit Step 1, just to make sure that we are aligned on the terminology and we all remember what Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 is. Then, I will explain how to build the Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015 development environment. And finally, I will demonstrate how to run the Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 from the development environment. As many of you remember, Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 would normally be executed in the previous version of the product, the one you're upgrading from. And within this stage of the upgrade process, you would run 2 things. First, you would run check upgrade preconditions. So this business logic would normally check the data and to see if the data is ready to be upgraded. Then, you would actually run the logic of Upgrade Toolkit Step 1. And this logic would either clean up the tables or the fields which are going to be changed or removed in the next version of the product, or it would save the data from these tables in a specially designed upgrade tables. Both phases, check preconditions and data conversion step 1, you would have to execute for all companies within the database. After that, you would go and convert the database using the new development environment. And finally, you would run Upgrade Toolkit Step 2, which in its turn would also have some check-in for upgrade preconditions and special business logic to massage the data in the application to make sure it fits to the requirements of the new application. And it would also normally move data from the upgrade tables into the new destination. In this video, I'm going to focus on designing and running of Upgrade Toolkit Step 1. Don't you worry, there will be a separate video explaining how you design and run Upgrade Toolkit Step 2. So we'll definitely get to that exciting topic in my next video. In Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015, Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 is executed within the Schema synchronization process. At this point of time, when server performs the schema synchronization, we are in a perfect situation where the server can see both the old definition of the table and the new definition of the table. And at this point of time, we can supply the server with synchronization instructions to tell it how to treat data in the tables which we are changing. If you want to know more about the schema synchronization and how it works in NAV 2015, please refer to a different video which we recorded for the readiness materials of 2015 product. In this video, I'm going to focus on 4 different options or synchronization modes which we made available for you to perform actions which you would normally do within the Upgrade Toolkit Step 1. So, let's consider 4 different scenarios. Here I have 4 tables, and let's just briefly look at these tables to see what are the starting conditions that we have here. So I'm going to run this cost type table. It pops up in the Windows client, and the field which I will be working with is the comment field. So you can see that in this table this field is empty, and it seems like it's not being used here. So then I'm going to run cost allocation source and see how the comment field looks there. So yes, there is data in this field in this table. There is also a cost center which has data in the comment field, and there is a cost object which also has data in this comment field. So now imagine 4 different scenarios. First scenario would be, let's say that I'm going to delete a field comment from this table, and I expect this field to be empty. So I expect that this field is not used, it is empty, but if some customer has some value in this field, then I would like to be notified. So for this scenario, I will use synchronization option or synchronization mode called check. What this mode will do, it will, before trying to apply the change to the table, it will check if there is data in this field. And if there is no data, it will simply remove the field from the table. If there is data in at least one of these fields in one of the companies, it will throw me an error. Second scenario, for the cost allocation source, I am going to completely obsolete comment field. So I don't need this field anymore, and I also don't need the data stored in this field. So this field is gone, and I'm not going to need the data from this field in the future. For this scenario, I'm going to use the force option, and you will definitely get a chance to see how they work in action. For the cost center, the scenario is that I am going to delete the comment field, which is field 11, but what I want is I want to save the values from this comment field in a specially designed upgrade table. And then in step 2, move data from this upgrade table into, let's say, some other table. So I do want to present values from the comment field. For this purpose, I will use the copy synchronization mode. And finally, I am going to completely redesign or repurpose table 113 cost object. So not only I will delete the comment field, I will also change a whole bunch of fields here and change the types. So I will do a drastic redesign of this table. And what I want to make sure is that all data in all fields is preserved in a specially designed upgrade table. So essentially, I'm going to move the data from the cost object table into upgrade table and then apply all of these drastic changes. So these are 4 of my scenarios that I'm going to try to fulfill by running Upgrade Toolkit Step 1. So let's get started. As I mentioned before, I need to design upgrade tables for the cost center table and for the cost object table. And I'm going to do it in a classical way. I will just open this table, save it as another one. I give it a different ID, provide a different name, and save this table. Since I only need the comment field from this table, I will leave the primary key field and the comment field in it. Everything else will be gone. I will also check if I have any text constants, any functions. I will not be needing this for the upgrade table, so this will just be a shell object where the data will be stored. So let's check the keys. I don't need these extra keys. Basically, I clean up this table as much as I can. Let's see if I have any CAL code in it. Yes, I don't need that code, and I can go ahead and delete it. So now I have designed the upgrade table to save the primary key of that cost center table and the comment, the data from the comment field. I'm going to save it and force this change because this table is supposed to be empty. I don't have any data in it, so I'm just saving it to the SQL server. One table is done. Let's design a table for the cost object table. So I will do exactly the same operation. I will go and save it as table 50,001. Give it a different name. And in this case, since I'm going to move full set of data from all fields into the upgrade table, I need to leave them all here in this table. The only thing I might decide to do is to clean up the text constants. I'm not going to need them, and delete the functions and also delete the code. And I'm going to force this change as well. So here I have two upgrade tables created for two of my real tables. The next step for me is to introduce the changes in these tables and build Upgrade Toolkit Step 1. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you can do it in several different ways. For instance, for every change that you introduce in a table, you can go and start building Upgrade Toolkit, Upgrade Code Unit. And then for every next change that you do, you would simply add lines to the same Upgrade Code Unit. In my case, I want to do it in a slightly different way, and I hope you will like how it looks. So I will go into the cost type table and delete field comment. I'm going to save and not synchronize, so I will choose the later option. I'm not going to synchronize these metadata changes to this server yet. I'm going to go to cost allocation table and do exactly the same. Synchronize later, go into the cost center, delete comment table, synchronize later, and go into the cost object, delete the comment field, delete all of these fields. So let's just go party on this table, delete this filter and change it from code to boolean. So do all sorts of crazy changes. This table will be completely repurposed. So in my new version of the application, I'm going to use it for something else. But I do want to save data from the original table. So now it looks completely differently, right? I'm going to save it and synchronize later. And of course, I will need to clean it up a little bit more. Let's see, can I save it now? It seems like I went a little bit too far. So, but now the table is saved and I can close it. So I've done some changes to these 4 tables. What I'm going to do next, I will try to synchronize the changes. And actually I will go ahead and check the synchronization. So this will try to synchronize the changes. And naturally it will tell me that the changes that I just did may delete the data if I try to apply them to the SQL tables. And if I want to see detailed information, I should run sync nav tenant commandlet with mode check only. The reason why we don't see the detailed information here is simply because C-side cannot show that much of information. So I'm going to follow this advice and I will switch into the PowerShell and load our NAV administration tool. And I'm going to run sync nav tenant commandlet with mode check only. So now when I run it, you can see that I have the list of all of my changes right here in this message. So you can see that I changed the cost type, and what were the changes there? I deleted field 20. I have table 1106, cost allocation source, and I deleted the comment field there. And for the cost object table, I did a lot of different changes. So I changed the type and I deleted a bunch of fields. So this is all available for me. But what I'm looking for is the information at the bottom of this message. So these are the examples of the code to migrate the data. So I find it quite useful, so I will just go ahead and copy it into the clipboard and return to the development environment. So now I can start building upgrade code unit. And this is quite a simple task. So all I need to do, I will go into the properties of this code unit and say that this is an upgrade code unit. The next thing I will do, I will define a new function, and you can give it any name, but I like to call it get table sync setup. And I need to specify the type for this function, which will be table sync setup function type. So this is the function which will hold the instructions for the NAV server to be used during the schema synchronization. And this function should follow a certain signature. So it should be referencing table sync setup table, and that's basically the only requirement. But what I will do, I will add a variable of type code unit 9900, which is a helper code unit we included into the standard application. So this code unit has a couple of methods for you to build upgrade code units. And at this point I will paste my instructions into this list. So you can see that I have them readily available for me to edit. So let me just show you the list of tables to keep it close. So what I decided to do is, for the cost type, I'm going to use the check mode. So for the check mode, I don't need any upgrade table, and I will replace the mode to check. For cost allocation source, I also don't need any upgrade table because I'm going to force this change, and I'm going to use force option. For the cost center, I will use table 50,000, and the synchronization mode will be copy. I want to save the data from the comment field in my upgrade table. And for the cost object, I'm going to use table 50,001, and the mode will be move. That's basically it. So all I need to do now is to give it an ID and call it upgrade toolkit, for instance, step 1. In the future, the very same code unit will also contain upgrade toolkit step 2 instructions in it, but for now I will just use it for running step 1 logic. Saving, and here I have it. So let me just remove the filters and give it a nice description. So now I can filter all of my objects and see them in one list. So here I have 4 of my tables which are changed, 2 upgrade tables, and upgrade code unit which contains schema synchronization instructions. The next thing I'm going to do, I will take these changes and export them into a FOB file. I'm going to call it new objects.fob. Yes, please. So now I have a FOB file which I can apply to my target database, where these 4 tables are still unchanged. To emulate this scenario, I will need to restore the database to its original state. So just bear with me for a couple of seconds. So here I am back in my original database, where these tables are still unchanged. So you can see that, for instance, the comment field is still in this table. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to import the FOB file which I saved previously, and let's see that this file includes the new definitions of these 4 tables, upgrade tables and upgrade code unit. So this seems right. I will just go ahead and import this. And as I'm importing the FOB, the program discovers that I have tables in this FOB, and now I need to decide if I want to synchronize schema for these tables or I don't want to synchronize this schema. Since I already have upgrade toolkit included with this FOB, I might as well just go ahead and say synchronize now, and that's exactly what I do. So I say synchronize the changes, and it gives me a message explaining what's going to happen. So we will perform the validation and we'll execute the schema synchronization. That's exactly what I want to do. And schema synchronization starts. So my tables are synchronized. Now let's just close it, and you can see that 3 objects were created and 4 replaced. So let's take a look. Now the table doesn't have the comment field, so the field was simply deleted, because I was using the check mode and there were no values in the comment field. So during the schema synchronization process, the server executed this action. For the cost allocation, the comment field is gone too, even though there was data in that field. However, since I used the force option, that field was forcefully deleted. The cost center doesn't have the field either, but if I go into the cost center upgrade table and run it, it will pop up in the Windows client, and you see that I actually have all of the comments saved in the upgrade table. So now I can use them in Upgrade Toolkit Step 2 and move them to some other place. So this looks good. And finally, the cost object has a new structure. So the changes were applied and the type seems right and the fields which I deleted are deleted. But if I run this table, you can see that it's empty. And all the data which was stored in the original table is now available in the upgrade table. So now I can decide what I want to do with the old data. So you can see that all of the 4 scenarios were executed within the schema synchronization process, following the instructions that we provided within the data upgrade code unit. Let's briefly review the mechanics of the data upgrade process, Upgrade Toolkit Step 1, which is executed within the schema synchronization. And let's see how the data which we supplied within the upgrade code unit becomes available for the NAV server. When I connect from the development environment to the application database, I make changes to the tables definitions. Then when server connects to the application database, it can discover that several tables were changed. And as it discovers that, the server fills in the virtual table called table sync setup with the list of tables which it can see that were changed. The next thing, the server will invoke the code unit and specifically upgrade code unit, and within that code unit it will run all the table sync setup functions. For each of these functions it will run through the synchronization instructions where we will fill in the virtual table sync setup. So now this table is filled in with the actual instructions which we supplied within the code unit. And that table is passed back to the NAV server and is used during the schema synchronization process. So that's the concept of running Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015. So you can see that we have 4 different options to control what do we want to do with the data during schema synchronization: check, force, copy, or move. And obvious benefits of this process is, first, it simplifies the upgrade environment. You can see that the entire Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 is actually run in the latest version of the product, so you don't need to run it in the old version and then run it in the new version. Secondly, you don't need to run it for all companies inside of the database because it happens automatically during the schema synchronization. So these instructions which you provided inside of the upgrade code unit, they're executed for all tables for all companies in that database. It certainly reduces the amount of code to be written. You remember the Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 code in the past would be quite lengthy and, frankly, not very popular among developers. So now it has become even more simpler. It is just a list of one-liners with instructions for how to handle data. It also minimizes the number of manual actions. You don't actually need to open each and every company and run Upgrade Toolkit Step 1 in these companies. This all happens automatically during the schema synchronization process. And finally, we use familiar Upgrade Toolkit design concepts. So you can see that we still use the concept of the upgrade table, and the server still copies the data into the upgrade table or move the data into the upgrade table. So these concepts of the Upgrade Toolkit design are well known to the developers, so hopefully you'll get up to speed in no time. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again for the second part of this video where we will discuss Upgrade Toolkit Step 2.